The Civic has always been a more interesting choice for buyers in the Focus-sized family hatchback segment. Over 4 decades and 9 distinct generations, Honda has refined its approach with this model, perfecting a design and engineering-led package that tends to encourage brand loyalty. Conquest customers, though, have been harder for this Japanese maker to attract, hence a package of updates to this 9th generation Civic that have made it smarter, cleverer, safer and more comfortable. As a result, this underrated contender is now much improved, especially when matched to peppy but frugal 1.6 litre diesel power. It's a surprising package for the right kind of buyer.
Back in 2012, when this 9th generation model was first launched, some Civic enthusiasts complained about the lack of steering feel, whilst buyers playing greater priorities on comfort tended to take a test drive, try the firm ride, and then go and buy something else. It was to correct these issues that the engineers decided upon a surprisingly extensive roster of dynamic tweaks for this updated design. They'd been fiddling with the suspension setup since launch, and here again there have been changes to things like the roll bars, the bushes and the damper rates. All this has helped. What's important is that the changes that have been made to make this Civic an easier day-to-day drive haven't diluted its rewarding feel through the bends. Indeed, that's actually been enhanced thanks to the extra steering feel you get from an altered steering rack and the addition of an agile handling assist system, Honda's version of the kind of torque vectoring setup first introduced to this segment by the Ford Focus. In short, you don't need an expensively powerful engine to feel fast in this car. And you won't get one either, not unless you opt for the Type R hot hatch variant with its 310 PS 2-litre VTEC turbo petrol engine. Mainstream versions of this Honda give you only 3 engine choices, none of which is neck-snappingly rapid. The least expensive alternative is the 100 PS 1.4i VTEC petrol unit. Far more rewarding, though notably less efficient, is the other volume petrol power plant, the 1.8i VTEC derivative. With 142 PS on tap, this offers reasonable performance on paper. 0 to 62 miles an hour in 9.1 seconds en route to 134 miles an hour, but only if you rev the thing harder than most owners will want to. Our advice then would be to bypass these engine options and, if funds permit, opt instead for the 120 PS 1.6i DTEC diesel power plant that I'm trying here. In the past, Honda has sold cars with diesel engines about as willingly and satisfyingly as McDonald's will sell you a salad. But this one's different. True, it's no ball of fire. 62 miles an hour takes 10.5 seconds on the way to 129 miles an hour. But more importantly, there's a lusty 300 Newton meters of pulling power available. The 9th generation Civic offers buyers a choice of 2 body styles, the 5-door hatch or a spacious tourer estate. In improved form, this Civic gets a sleeker front bumper, smarter headlamps and de rigueur integrated LED daytime running lights that deliver a unique visual signature. It's all just enough to keep it looking current. Must backseat passengers pay for the coupe-style shape? Well, to some extent, yes. The side windows that incorporate rear door handles hidden within their frames are certainly smaller than is usual in this class. Compensation when you take a seat inside here at the back is provided by plentiful legroom and a near flat floor which frees up space if necessary for a central rear passenger. If you've a tall load to carry, say a plant from the garden centre or an electrical item, you can flip the base up, cinema seat style. If you're wondering why other rivals can't offer this kind of versatility, it's because they often have complicated multi-link suspension systems taking up space that Honda thinks buyers would rather see devoted to passenger room or luggage capacity. Hence this Civic's simpler torsion beam suspension setup and its designer's clever placement of the fuel tank under the front floor. These measures together freeing up an enormous 477-litre boot capacity. Time to take a seat up front, a position that will deliver a surprise or two if you're not familiar with Civic culture. There still isn't a cockpit we can think of this side of a motor show concept car that looks more willfully futuristic with its dual plane architecture and mixture of digital and analog instrumentation. In principle, it sounds like a mixed up mess. In practice, though, it all works really well. Directly ahead of you are 3 deeply recessed sporty dials with metallic surround trims, and above them lies what Honda rather pretentiously calls the driver interface zone, an upper display that arcs over the main instrument binnacle and is viewed above the steering wheel rim, gathering essential information like speed at the natural point of eye focus. The other design key point in this cabin is what the designers call the information interface zone, essentially this area in the centre of the dash, just above the perfectly positioned gear stick. This is where you'll not only find the air conditioning controls, but above them, the key interior change that's been made to this revised model, namely the addition of this larger 7-inch Honda Connect colour infotainment touchscreen. Provided you avoid entry-level trim, this Android-based setup is standard across the range, controlling stereo and informational functions, dealing with the optional Garmin sat-nav system and providing full internet browsing when you're stationary. Kaizen, the Japanese approach to continuous improvement, characterises every aspect of this much improved 9th generation Civic. This car may look similar to the Mark 9 model we first saw in 2012, but under the skin it's a far more competitive prospect. The upgraded infotainment setup, the more comfortable driving experience, and the fact that these days there's a wider range of trim options, plus an estate body style and a Type R hot hatch variant, all of it makes a big difference to this car's appeal. All of these things are welcome, but they haven't diluted the individual appeal of a package that remains distinctively different in the Focus-sized family hatchback segment. The sporty feel of the engines, the brilliant magic seat practicality of the cabin, and the distinctive looks all continue to underline the way that Honda isn't afraid to go against the grain when designing a car of this kind. The result is a car they market as being excitingly practical. Drive one, and you may just agree that it is.